Well, good afternoon, everyone. You will recall that on August the 9th, I announced that Tauranga MP Sam Uffindell was being stood down from the National Party Caucus while an allegation made by a former flatmate was being independently investigated. This allegation about an incident during the period they flatted together at Otago University in 2003 followed a separate admission by Sam that he was a bully while at King's College. As I said at the time, as leader of the National Party and also the father of a daughter at university, I would want such allegations to be treated seriously and appropriately. Sam strongly disputed the flatmate's allegation, and in fairness to both parties involved, I and the National Party commissioned Maria Dew, KC, to conduct an independent investigation. National Party President Sylvia Wood will now talk through the investigation. Sylvia.
Thank you all. And as Christopher has said, the National Party appointed Maria Dew, QC, now KC, to conduct an independent investigation, and we received the final report on Thursday night, 15 September. The first objective in asking for an independent investigation was to explore the allegation made by a former flatmate and disputed by Sam to establish a conclusion about what had occurred. The second objective was to provide a safe process for complainants and anyone else that had relevant information to come forward if they had other allegations of inappropriate behaviour by Sam Uffindell. The investigation under the terms of reference took place between 15 August and 15 September. On behalf of the National Party, I want to thank Ms Dew for her diligent, professional and impartial work. I also want to thank the complainants and witnesses who participated in the investigation. Their contribution is greatly appreciated. To protect the confidentiality of those involved in the investigation, we will not be releasing details of the report. As Sam has said publicly, he was a bully at King's College, and this behaviour harmed a number of people for which he has apologised. 14 people were interviewed by Ms Dew as part of the investigation, and a number of written statements were provided. I would now like to briefly summarise the findings. Ms Dew's thorough investigation did not substantiate any allegations of bullying outside of Sam's time at King's College. Regarding the alleged Otago University flat incident, there are differing accounts of what occurred, and Ms Dew concluded the event was not as it was described in the media. Despite this conclusion, it is clear that the complainant's experience in a deteriorating flat relationship caused her harm. Aside from his time at King's College and interactions with his flatmate at university, no one else came forward that considered themselves a victim of Sam's behaviour. I am pleased that Ms Dew's report provides us with the ability to now move forward. And again, I want to thank Ms Dew for her work in leading this thorough investigation and the complainants and witnesses who participated. I'd now like to hand back to Christopher to talk about the next steps. I'll be happy to answer questions at the end.
Well, thank you, Sylvia. And firstly, could I just begin by acknowledging the people who have been hurt or harmed by Sam's past behaviour. Sam himself has previously acknowledged publicly that he engaged in unacceptable behaviour during his time at King's College and has apologised for this. Secondly, I was disturbed, as many people would have been, by the serious allegation made by a former flatmate at Otago University. The investigation has found there are differing accounts of an incident that happened 20 years ago, However, as Sylvia has outlined in her summary of the report's findings, the investigation concluded that Sam did not engage in the serious behaviour towards his flatmate that was alleged in the media. Further, Ms. Dew's investigation did not substantiate any allegations of bullying outside of Sam's time at King's College. And on that basis, the National Party Caucus met earlier today, and Sam has been fully reinstated to our caucus. I have never tolerated bullying in any team or workplace that I have led, and since becoming our leader, I have made clear my expectations about the behaviours and conduct that I expect from all of our MPs and members. I also believe in forgiveness and second chances, and if someone can demonstrate a genuine understanding of their behaviour and the way that it has negatively impacted others, and can then show that they have become a better person, they deserve a second chance. And I am pleased to welcome Sam back into the National Party Caucus, and I'm pleased that we can now move forward. I'll now pass to Sam for his remarks, but happy to take questions at the end.
Thank you, Christopher and Sylvia. I also want to thank Maria Dew for her independent investigation, in which I fully participated. I welcome her findings that I did not engage in the serious behaviour at Otago University, as alleged in the media. When I became a National Party candidate, I disclosed to the party that incident that occurred when I was 16 in a dorm at King's, for which I'm truly sorry. I deeply regret my behaviour during my school years that caused harm to others. I was genuinely shocked by the allegations of a former female flatmate in 2003. Ms. Dew found that this incident did not occur as it was reported in the media. I am not able to go into details, but I want to acknowledge that there was a genuine breakdown in the flat relationship, and things were said that I now realise my flatmate overheard. I apologise and regret my part in that. This has been a challenging period, and I want to thank everyone who reached out to offer their support. My focus now is on continuing to work hard and deliver for the great people of Tauranga. Thank you.
Sam, what exactly was
So I'll just finish and then we'll open up for questions. Can I say thank you, Sam. You will appreciate, given the sensitivity of the allegations and out of respect for the complainants, that we are limited in what we can say about the detail of the report, but we now are happy to take questions. Jenna?
Are you happy to share about the
No, I don't believe we do have one. And I think the reality is that we have worked incredibly hard to improve our culture. And what you have seen is Sam come forward, declare an incident that he's not proud of from his King's College days, and then we've had an independent investigation that has said the events did not transpire as was presented in the media.
Sam, have you made any contact with the women who have forced the media?
No, I have not spoken to them since our flat deteriorated in 2003. Out of respect to everyone, I'm not going to reach out to her. I don't know if she'd necessarily like to hear from me, but as I have noted before in my statement, I do apologise and regret my part that led to the flat breakdown.
So, Jessica? Sorry, I'll let you go there.
Do you still have a stomach for politics? Is this what you offer, or are you hungry for it?
Yeah, good question. Look, I came here because I think I can make a difference. I'm not going to lie, the last 6 weeks have been incredibly challenging, but I do have a stomach for it, and I will continue to work hard and deliver for the people of Tauranga.
What message do you think this sends to victims or people who have complaints coming forward?
Well, look, I hope that they've seen that we've taken serious allegations incredibly seriously. What you've seen us is move very, very quickly to appoint Maria Dew as an independent investigator. She's eminently qualified to lead an independent investigation like this. And I think we've put a very fair process in place. We kept it confidential deliberately because we wanted as many people to be able to input into that investigation. We had a very clear two objectives. One was to make sure that we could get some clarity around what actually happened around the Otago flat situation. And the second thing was to make sure we had a process where people felt it was safe, confidential and secure, that they could come in, and if anyone else could come forward with any other allegations they may have had about Sam's unreasonable behaviour. Claire?
Sam, how confident are you that you will be reselected for the next election, and how do you overcome what has been a slightly flawed test in
Yeah, I've got a lot of work on my hands, and I'm going to work really hard over the rest of this term. Firstly, to work hard and deliver for the people of Tauranga, but also to gain reselection, and then also to take that momentum into the election next year.
Do you have a message
Jane?
for the voters of Tauranga?
Sorry, Claire?
Do you have a message for the voters of Tauranga?
I'm dedicated to the people of Tauranga, and I am going to work incredibly hard to secure their continued loyalty.
Jane?
There was a finding that you had stated, and you're obviously relying on quite heavily, that Mr Uffindell did not engage in that behaviour. So, I suppose how can there be such a definitive finding when you yourself said it was a contested event 20 years ago?
Yeah, so we really are trusting Maria Dew and her independent investigation, her expertise in leading this process. You've seen it's taken a bit longer than I probably ideally would have liked, and that's because it has been robust, where she's been able to engage with complainants and witnesses and be able to get to the bottom of it. And we take her report and her investigation seriously.
Was it appropriate for Mr Uffindell to be the Women's Expo with the National Party rosette before this report had been made public, and given the circumstances in which he was suspended?
I'll let Sam answer that question. Yeah.
I can go to that one. So I attended the Women's Expo in Tauranga on Saturday, which was a really good event, and there were a lot of businesses out there showing their wares, and I posed for a photograph and quickly picked up a rosette and smiled, and it was a silly thing to do, frankly, but I just wanted to be there. I've been doing that through the 6 weeks out there, meeting local constituents and trying to stay involved in the community.
What is the message to voters who might not be completely convinced about your rehabilitation or your, that you should stay on as a member of Parliament?
Look, my message to them is that the serious allegations relating to the University of Otago were thoroughly investigated by Maria Dew, and she has cleared me on those.
So is your flatmate telling the truth?
Sorry, do you want to go? Oh, sorry, Jenna.
Look, I'm not going to comment on that. It was two sides to each story, as you'd understand. That it was thoroughly investigated, and the QC established that I did not engage in the behaviour as was alleged in the media.
Sorry, we'll go to Richard.
Yeah, my question is for the President. I realise you weren't President when what I'm going to ask you about took place, but did the pre-selection panel in Tauranga, the 2 board nominees on the pre-selection panel, did they report back to the board as the rules provide on what had happened at the pre-selection panel?
Richard, the pre-selection processes are confidential. I think what we have looked at very, very closely is our set of processes, our disclosures, and I have acknowledged, the party has acknowledged, we should have disclosed this to our voters in Tauranga.
That's not what I'm asking you. I'm not asking you to disclose what happened at the panel. I'm asking whether a communication, as is provided for in Rule 95, went from the 2 board nominees to the board.
Well, the board matters are confidential as well, Richard, so I'm not going to comment on that.
We understand that other board members were concerned. We understand that other board members were concerned, asked questions about this, and calls made not to elevate it, and you were involved in that process. Is that correct?
No.
Were you aware at all of the disclosure that Sam Uffindell had made?
Absolutely, yes.
Did you have passed that disclosure on to the leader of the party?
After Sam had been selected, yes.
But you didn't.
No.
And what sort of responsibility do you take for that failure?
I am looking very much at the things we have learnt from the Tauranga selection. We have been working solidly on the whole issue of disclosures. I think what Maria Dew's report showed was that the checking that we had done was valid, and that Sam had disclosed, as we asked him to do, the most serious event in his past.
Party members, can they be confident that you will bring a different style of leadership as President, where these things are elevated when necessary, where these things aren't sort of kept in the shadows, essentially?
Look, I am pretty direct, and I am absolutely committed to sound selection, ensuring that information is elevated.
How can you say you're pretty direct when you didn't elevate a really important piece of information to the leader of the party?
I've acknowledged that should have happened.
All I'd say to that, as we talked about before, was that the information was passed through to my staff. It wasn't elevated up to me at that point in time. I think, in fairness to what Sylvia's saying, is that we have, between the two of us as new leaders of this party, done a lot of work around establishing a code of conduct around members and supporters. We have all of our parliamentary MPs going through, bullying and harassment training right now. I would say to you the fact that Sam came forward and declared historically an event in his past that he was not comfortable with, was unacceptable, was actually really very good. The fact that we actually reference checked and then reference checks, and then Maria Jew subsequently confirmed that there are improvements in our processes, and we've also been very clear going forward about the criteria that we want to see and our expectations going forward with future selections. Sorry.
Sam, were you let down by the party? You did the right thing. It seems that the processes in place weren't correct.
No, I wouldn't say that.
So you're satisfied with the way that this played out?
The way this has played out here, that the party has been in contact with me throughout my 6 weeks in isolation. Sylvia has checked in on me a lot. So have several of the numerous caucus members. Christopher, and keeping complete independence, has not been in touch with myself or Maria Jew, which is the correct thing to do.
Sorry, Joe. Sorry, I'll go to Joe. Sorry, Jenna. Oh, sorry, Jessica.
When you said your flatmate overheard something, were you talking about flatmate calling her a fatty? Is that what you were talking about?
Look, as I mentioned in my statement, I'm not able to go into the details of what happened. We all talked about this in confidential process out of respect to everyone involved. There were witnesses, complainants, myself. I can't really disclose anything around that. But I have said things were may have been said by people around who overheard stuff, and I regret, obviously, and apologise for my part in that. And I know you'd like to go into further into details than that, but I'm not going to do that. Thank you.
Sorry, can I go to Joe and then we'll come here? Yeah, Joe.
Are you on the board?
Yes, I am, but I excuse myself from candidate selections.
But presumably, if information was passed on as per Richard's question before to the board, then you would have received that information as a member of the board.
I recuse myself from any conversation around candidate selection. I'm clear on expectations, and then it's left to the select committee or the selection panel locally to be able to determine the candidate, and then that's when I hear about it.
Wasn't that the recording right?
Sorry, can I go here? Sorry, Joe.
In terms of the timing of how long it has taken,
Yeah.
is that because Maria Jew had not actually interviewed or talked to many people at all up until that point of the 2 weeks when you had set your expectations, and has actually done all of that work in the 2 weeks since?
No, as we've said very clearly, Maria, mobilised pretty quickly after we made the announcement. I was probably a bit ambitious with my timings and expectations on how fast we could turn it around. But as I've said all the way through, and I haven't spoken to Maria apart from the very beginning day on that Tuesday night.
Are you aware of, other than the complainant from the RNZ story, whether she'd actually talked to any of Sam's flatmates or other people when the extension was made? Has she actually spoken to anyone else at that?
As I've heard from Maria, she started, we've given the dates by which she was actually doing investigations and talking to complainants and witnesses. All I'm saying is, it'll take, as I've said, it will take as long as it takes to run a good process. Maria knows how to do that incredibly well, and she did do that.
Did you have to encourage Maria Jew at all to talk to particular people? Did you engage with her about people that she should be speaking to for her report?
Maria obviously wanted to know who the other flatmates were, because she would have wanted to engage them, so to get a further understanding of the events.
At what point in the process did you tell her who the other people were?
Guys, I'm sorry, we're just not going to go into the detail. We trust Maria Jew. She knows how to do this process incredibly well, and she's done a great job with it. Sorry, ma'am.
Christopher, what do you say to Māori, to those Māori who you say cannot be given the chances that you have given Sam Uffindell, your hard line on crime and order, and law and order, and they don't get second chances that Sam Uffindell have been given by National?
I think we're conflating two issues here. We can still stand up as a party about law and order policy.
Māori do not get given second chances under National Party policies. What message are you sending those Māori who want to get second chances but don't under National Party policy?
what we're conflating here is two issues. The first issue is to make sure that Sam, as a teenager, declared up front something that he wasn't proud about. We've subsequently had an... No, that's not fair to make that distinction or to link those two issues. Sorry.
Because when we spoke to you last month ago down the hall, you said you would do some rethinking about whether your previous views on law and order were too tough and people did deserve second chances. Where did you arrive in that thinking over the last 6 weeks?
As you'll appreciate, over the past 6 weeks, there have been a lot of things on my plate. I've spent a lot of time looking after myself and my family, and also continuing to obviously assist Maria Dew throughout with this inquiry, and also continue my local constituency efforts. But that is something I will consider further.
Jessica?
Could you answer my question about Māori, one law for Māori and one law...
I think you're conflating two very different issues here. What I'm saying to you up front is there is an independent, individual issue that we've talked about around Sam's history and behaviour, and we've outlined a process for that. We can still be a party that talks very strongly about law and order and crime in this country, and we have major issues, as you've seen, about that. We don't think we're actually doing a good job and actually being significant on crime.
Can we go back to
Sorry, can I go to Jane?
Can you give a breakdown of the 14 interviews in terms of how many were from King's College days and how many from Otago University?
We're not going to go into the detail of that, but suffice to say, Maria covered people from all aspects of Sam's life. The material things are that there was no, post King's College, post this interaction with a flatmate, there was no allegations of ongoing bullying.
Then Mr. Uffindell and the flatmate and the father were other people from that time at Otago University interviewed. If that was, as I referred to before, one of the significant findings.
Yes, again, Maria went through and spoke to many complainants, many witnesses, and everyone involved in that process.
Can we go back to your time on the board? You're wrong on the board. You say that you recuse yourself from any discussions about candidate selections. What then do you do with written reports to the board and minutes of discussions of the board that may have dealt with candidate selections?
Yeah, so I'm being really clear about that. I set my expectations incredibly clearly about what I'm expecting from candidates. Sylvia and I have had those conversations even as we go through a new round of selections over the next 6 months. I am recused from specific conversations around specific candidates, and then when a candidate had emerged, as we found with Sam, then that's the point, as I was saying the other day, that we should have actually been able to bring that. I would like that to have been raised to me, his issue, the history of Kings, so I could have put that into the public domain.
Was there a paper in the board papers from the two board nominees at the Tauranga pre-selection detailing the discussion at the pre-selection panel, which would have also included the nominee who was rejected?
As I said to you, I don't get involved in candidate selections. Jessica?
Is today an appropriate date for this report?
Well, we got the report very late Thursday night. I had a pretty full day in Auckland with engagements on Friday. On Friday evening, Saturday and Sunday, Sylvia and I have had ongoing conversations through the weekend, and we wanted to be able to resolve and bring it to everyone as quickly as we said. We said that we would want it to go quicker, but we wanted to trust the process and do it properly and appropriately, and that's what we're doing today.
Does anyone say, although on the day of the Queen's funeral?
No, I don't think so. I think what we're genuinely saying is if I'd held on to a report for much longer, you would have been saying I've been holding on for something and information for way too long. And I think we've found the balance right, which is we received a report very late Thursday night. We digested it and spent the weekend working on it and coming to a view. We took it to our caucus this morning, and here we are today. Sorry? Sorry? Sam is fully reinstated as a member of the caucus, and he has the responsibilities that he had before he was stood down.
Some people would say that you would have a complete go about the timing of this report, and you would be out there saying this is completely unacceptable on the day of the Queen's funeral, UK time, to be releasing this report.
What I'm
honestly say that you wouldn't have a go at Labour for that.
What I can tell you is, I'm telling you how I can respond to the information that I received. I got a report late on Thursday. I've been talking to you about it for the last 6 weeks. Most days people were asking, where's the report, what's happening? We digested that very thoroughly. We formed our view, we went to our caucus, and we wanted to be able to get it out, get it announced and out and resolved so that people understood where we stood.
Do you see how favourable would be the timing of this report?
As I said to you, I don't believe it is. We are talking about, we received a report, we digested the findings, and we're bringing it to you as quickly as we possibly can. Sorry, Luke. Sorry, Luke.
Just a question for Sam. You said before, just when
I didn't put on, I just picked it
Oh,
up.
sorry, you picked it up.
Yeah.
Sorry. So what was it?
Mate, I should have just stayed away from doing stuff like that. I should have just done what I'd been doing with the
Out there who have been bullied and have not had any resolution?
That's a challenging question for that. I mean, I would also, you know, I've come through this process, and for people who have been bullied, you know, that I feel really sorry for them. It's not acceptable, and in a way, it's quite good that it's being called out by someone who has committed it as a public person, as a politician. Stand up. I've stood up 6 weeks ago and owned what I did, and I deeply regret what I did, and I hope that brings some comfort to those people at King's.
Guys, we're going to have 2 more questions. Claire? And then...
Do you think that you would have been selected if the delegates had known about the King's College issue?
Well, some of the delegates did know because they were on the selection panel, but I mean, it's a hypothetical question. You know, I worked really hard for that. I went around and met everyone with my wife, and I think I bring a lot to it, but it's a hypothetical.
Last question.
Following on from Jess's earlier question, Sam, considering the events of the last couple of weeks and months, is there a sense to you that you regret going into politics?
I'm very happy to be here representing the people of Tauranga and as a member of the National Party. Yes, the past 6 weeks have been very challenging, not just for myself but for my family as well, and I'm sure they've been challenging for the complainants and everyone involved in the investigation process as well. You know, I'm very grateful that Maria Dew landed where she landed and said that, you know, that it was not established, the allegations, you know, as alleged, as reported in the media. But I'm very happy to be here, and I'll continue to work hard for the people of Tauranga and for the National Party.